Hey guys, what's up? ALBER here. Today I want to share some of the tricks I use to write interesting drum lines on the Digitakt. One of the beautiful things about this instrument is the fact that it can be used in so many different ways, so there's always a lot to be discovered in observing somebody else's workflow. These are some of the ways I like to experiment whenever I'm looking for something fresh or even just a happy accident kind of thing. Let's check it out. Let me start off by saying that even though I love this instrument, it is obviously far from perfect. The main negative aspect for me is the lack of velocity-sensitive inputs on the machine. Using a keyboard to dial in single-shot hits is not always ideal, but I think that it can be interesting to add a melodic component to some percussion samples. In this beat, I'm going to use the Arturia key step to just play a simple hat line. That's it, record. Method number 2 involves using a pad. So I have an electronic drum kit around the house, and I've tried to route one of these pads into the Digitakt. While I obviously don't have a melodic component here, percussion pads are always more sensitive in capturing velocity than a keyboard can be, in my experience at least. Also, being a drummer, this allows me to actually play a line that I'd actually would play in real life on the drums. So there is a little bit of that communication between the mechanic word with the real playing word, if you will. Obviously, not everyone will have electronic pads laying around the house. I understand that. But this is to show the variety of MIDI controllers you can use. It's really up to you, and anything can really sound good. Check this out. Okay, so if you don't know what linear drumming is, it is simply put a technique on drums when you tend to play only one drum at a time. I really like this technique because it makes everything much lighter but at the same time very busy. Now, I translated this drumming technique on the Digitakt by writing a drum line only on one track so that there will be only one sample playing at a time. I use sample locks to dial in different samples on each step. They sound kind of like this. Yeah, so there's like a wide assortment of samples in there. And I laid them down in a way that made sense to me, and the final result sounds like this. So the nice thing about this method is that every single control over here in the sound design options pretty much will work like a control all. Like if I open a little bit of delay, yeah, it's kind of messy, but everything will be affected by it. So let's say it can be very interesting if you use some sort of filter. Obviously, each of these nodes have parameter locks, as you can see. Pretty cool, yeah. So doing something like this where you have everything laid out in front of you changes the feel you have in regards to the control over all of those tracks. I know that 8 tracks is not really a lot on the Digitakt, and what I'm pretty much telling you is to use just one to see what happens. I'm aware of that. But the feeling, the hands-on feeling that you may have out of doing something like this maybe could lead to some nice results. The delay on the Digitakt is a great tool to add variation in your pattern, especially because the delay time parameter is always linked to the BPM of the pattern. Playing a little bit with the time, you can discover polyrhythms, displaced accents, and such. You can even go a little further and use ping pong delay to really sprinkle some fairy dust over simple lines. So I have this nice pattern over here. So I would like to take this percussion at number 3 and open up the delay to see what happens. Yes. Let's see if I go play with the delay time. Maybe now it's a little bit more chaotic, but you can find the sweet spot in it. Okay, okay. Yeah, pretty cool. Another thing that the Digitakt doesn't have is a proper triplet mode. Playing in triplets is fun, and it is possible to do it on the Digitakt by changing the track scale. The thing is that it's less intuitive to play with is 16 notes and triplets at the same time, meaning in the same pattern. So there are some workarounds to go about this, and what I found out works for me is using the retrig function. But rather than using it in the very popular hi-hat bursts that we all used to listen to all the time, so in here I've set a couple of retrigs, right? In the hi-hat. Ta 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 ta. So you got the hi-hat going ta ta ta. So 2 beats, 2 notes per beat, so 8 notes, and sometimes it goes ta 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 ta. So a triplet, 3 notes inside of a beat. Alright guys, I hope this video gave you 1 or 2 new ideas on how to dial in drums on this machine. Hit me in the comments if you have any questions or if you have any requests for future videos. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you like my content. ALBER's out.